Welcome to episode 158 of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and this week I'm joined by Kevin. We are two artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and all-round shit-talkers, and each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you through Netflix, Hulu, Disney+, Amazon, Spotify. Wherever you get your content, we take a chunk of it, we watch it, and we talk about it. This week we are talking about touristing, we are talking about Donald Sutherland, we're talking about The Acolyte, we're talking about The Boys, we're talking about movies, we're talking about media, we're talking about comics, we're talking about just being Dublin. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast, heading over to iTunes, heading over to Spotify, rating, reviewing, liking, subscribing, all of those good things really help us out. On top of that, you can pop over to Instagram at The Endless Cast, where we put up art and clips to go with each episode. And that's a great place to send us a message, suggest something for us to watch, or tell us we're wrong. We'll have a chat with you over there. Our messages are open. Or you can send us an email at theendlesscast@gmail.com. All that being said, let's get into the episode. Perfect? Okay. Love a deathly long silence. How's it going, Kevin? How's it going?
It's going.
I'm going to have to edit all that out.
It's going fine.
Okay, thank you. We can do that without making it objectionable for us now.
Yeah, I'm not here. I'm here, and it's not against my will.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to lean a little more Dublin and try and make this thing a little more earthy and a little more connecting with our local audiences, you know? I'll make us a little more like those podcasts that are very successful doing things in Dublin.
I can speak then a little bit more culty and just refer to...
Can you make a bit culty? Can you tell me about what's it like in the countryside?
Sure, if this is on... I can't do a country accent. Can I do a country accent?
You are doing a country
I'm doing a country accent. I'll keep it country. If it's on RTE, sure, they only think it's full of tractors and guard jerseys.
I don't know, if I go driving around the countryside, I see a lot of tractors, I see a lot of guard jerseys. I'm not going to lie to you now.
Have you seen any magic tractors?
Have I seen any magic tractors? Yeah. The kinds that turn into fields?
No, like the kind that will murder
grant your wishes?
Yes.
Did you say murder your family?
Yes. Yes.
So what I've learned is the countryside is full of magical leprechaun farmers and murderers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So Aidan, you're a true dub, correct? Hence the accent.
I don't think I constitute a true dub. I've got some imposter syndrome issues. I think there's an innate. Maybe I'm wrong. There's a presentation of confidence that comes with the sort of dub, like I'm from Dublin, like
ego,
completely.
You could say ego, narcissism.
Narcissism's tough, no, but there is a sort of like a swagger that I associate with being dub. Not a bad, like I guess I'm speaking for the type of dub that I like, the type of stereotypical Dublin person that I like, which is like confident in their space and like knows their city and has a sort of like ease about them. Now maybe that's just me. When you say a true dub, it's like I can't fucking tell you where one thing is versus the next in Dublin most of the time. I'm bad
but no
at
dub can.
geography.
No dub can. No.
I don't have.
No dub knows where any bus goes, where any street is, where anything is on. They don't. So I don't worry about that.
All right.
Like never ask a dub for directions. Ask a culture or a foreigner, you'll find it.
That's very funny because it's just Dubliners know where they're going. And never have to.
They know where they're going, or they've lived in such a bubble, like they only stick to that bubble. This is indicative of like every large city. This is indicative of people that also where I'm from. I'm just talking about in like you know, if you're in Dublin, don't ask a dub or you know for directions or whatever help. A culture or a foreigner will.
I can't. This is the thing. I can't tell you. I was about to say if you were to ask where's this street.
Yeah.
I can't even think of the name of the street, but if you were to say where's the James Joyce statue, I know exactly where it's at.
And that's fine as well. Like I'm not judging anything in that sense because I don't have a sense of direction. I've gotten lost on my way home, like in the last like 6 months. So like I'm not like judging people for not knowing where things are. But like
nobody's judging anybody.
But like kind of like, you know, you go out to rural Ireland somewhere and you go like, do you know where such a place is? And they'll say like, yeah, you go like 40 meters down that road, you take the second left, you'll see 2 houses on the right, you take the first right after the second house, you turn left then after 2 minutes down the road and
but will
blah, blah,
they
blah.
be able to tell me the street name?
There's no street name.
Well, see, this is the problem. We're in the same boat then. We're in the same boat.
No.
Like I said to you, I can tell you how to get to the James Joyce statue from here.
Well, they probably would be able to tell you the street name, but I'm saying there's no street names. There's like road names. That's the Haskell. That's the old Troom Road there now. That's such and such, you know.
Go down to the Purdy kitchen, turn left, keep going until you hit the dentist's, turn left again, turn right till you see the
Purdy kitchen.
Five Guys. Turn left to the Purdy kitchen.
That doesn't even exist anymore.
What?
The Purdy kitchen.
Purty. Purty.
Where's that?
Just the bottom of the hill here in Monkstown.
Oh, there used to be a Purdy kitchen in Dublin, wasn't there?
There is a Purdy kitchen in Dublin. I'm pointing you to it.
You're referencing that? No, I mean like, what's that what Bad Bob's was called before it got taken over by Bad Bob's? Purdy kitchen. That was it, wasn't it?
Oh, I wasn't hanging out in tourist areas like yourself.
Dublin City is a tourist area, pal.
No.
Yes, it is.
No. Dublin's wheelbarrows where they walk streets and now. No. It's a beautiful, vibrant cultural centre. It's a vibrant central cultural. Shut up.
In 2019.
Oh no, I love Dublin. Leave me alone. But your question was,
I love Dublin. Don't get me wrong.
True dub. What was the rest of it going to be?
Was it James Joyce said when he dies that Dublin be written somewhere on his heart?
I wouldn't know that sort of thing. That sounds like English thinking.
I think it was James Joyce that said that, and I
knowing a literary reference. That's English talk.
Well, I must have got bit by an English there now or something, because there I'm having a literary thought. But no, Dublin's a great city.
Is this wildly unlistenable?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Let's go back. But no, I love Dublin. Dublin's a great city. But not indicative of Ireland. If you're coming to Ireland to see Dublin, go to Dublin. If you're coming to Ireland to see Ireland, go anywhere else.
Get fucked.
Why?
If you're coming to Ireland to see Ireland, you can see Dublin. If you're coming to Ireland to see Ireland, you can see Cork, Antrim, Tyrone, fucking Leitrim.
I wouldn't recommend anybody to go to any country and spend their entire time in the biggest city.
Of course, there's like, don't spend your entire time. Well, whatever even about the biggest city. Just don't spend your entire time in the quarter square mile that is the tourist area. Like, even within Dublin, it's like, you don't have to go that fucking far out to get away from like the tourist bit. Places
to see in Dublin. You go to Houston Station, and if you look at the front door, you'll get a nice view of the city. But then when you're bored on the trains, as you're leaving Dublin, you'll also get a nice view of Dublin.
Or go to Howth, or go out to Dunleary and climb the hill and see Killiney and get this view over Dublin City. Is beautiful.
Yeah, go out towards Howth, and then on your way back, take a left there to Wicklow. I do love this Dublin. I do love the city. I'm very proud of it. I love it.
Okay, nice save.
Yeah, but I know it's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. It's a tough old city to live in.
I think that's everywhere at the moment. It's all a bit fucked.
Yeah, fair.
Speaking of traveling around the place, you were out of the city for a few days.
I went beyond the pale, which is actually
you absconded.
I absconded outside of the city centre. I went beyond the pale to a festival called Beyond the Pale. I went with my lovely partner Emer. We camped for 3 nights with friends of ours. The festival itself was a bit shit, to be honest. But I didn't really go for the festival. I just went to go camping and hang out with friends and hang out with people I haven't seen in a long time or whatever, you know. I just went really kind of just for the peeps. It was fun. It was fun. Like I said, the festival itself a bit lackluster.
Okay, well, was it lackluster? This was your first festival?
No, second festival.
Second festival. What was your first one?
All together now last year, and that was brilliant.
Okay, so what was the difference? Who did you see last
Oh,
year?
like, so I'm not going. I haven't. I've gone to both these things with the exact same intentions. I don't know who's playing. I don't really care who's playing. I don't really know what's on. I don't really care what's on. Um, the the
So you're just going for a camping experience then?
I'm going because of the group of friends I have that are kind of getting together and going to it.
Right, and this group was lackluster.
No, this group is great.
Oh,
Or this group is the highlight. These
Okay.
people are the best part. It's the actual event and people performing and stuff that I just couldn't really care much for.
All right. Like, it's just the way you're just like, this festival was lackluster, and it's like, you're not there for the music anyway.
Yeah, but you see, the problem with the festival was,
Okay, that's what I'm after.
yeah, it was really, really poorly organized, layout, infrastructure, everything. And like going off the back of having experienced one festival, I just can't imagine it being that hard to at least have some of these issues addressed, considering that this is like the third or fourth beyond the pale, but a significant lack of toilets, a
Right.
significant lack of water access. Like you'd think there'd be like I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense if you get me. Like basically they obviously got the insurance or the funds or the means or something to have X amount of more people attend the festival. That's all they did.
Oh, so that I had it scaled up from last year.
I believe so. And then like that looks like it's all they did. Like kind of they were like, obviously, security and all that kind of stuff is important. You expect to get searched when you go into the front entrance. But they had like kind of like once kind of like everybody was through when you got through the actual festival itself. Then they had a secondary kind of search point into the main stage or into the main area where all the kind of like food and bands are playing, or acts, and it's just like come on, like nobody wants to be queuing in and out all day of these things. Like how stupid, and then like I think like kind of, and then things finishing very early. Like everything was finished by 11 o'clock on Sunday night, like 11 to 12. Well, most things are. Now we did find one or two things that were kind of going, but like slim pickings, and then Mark Ruble.
Well, Sunday night's the last night,
Yeah,
right?
it was. Yeah, I think everything was more or less finished by like maybe like max like 2. I'm saying 2 o'clock. Like everything was probably finished by around like 12, like 11, 12, 1. Like you might have gotten the tail end of an act here or there or something, but it was over. Like
Yeah. I don't. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't expect things to go longer than that.
yeah. Altogether now there's a few little forest bops going on. That was fun, but
Okay, no, I do remember that. There was little ravey things happening.
Yeah.
You walked around a corner in the woods and there was a fucking light show.
yeah, it was class. That stuff was good fun, This just felt very much like kind of last act and all right, folks, everybody, okay, folks, move along there now, folks. That kind of way. It was like just like all right, kind of a bit shit, but anyways, but no, like kind of like this is all also like you're experiencing these things with a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth because we went to Mark Ruble. Mark Ruble?
Rebier.
Rebier. I can't fucking know his name. Whatever.
Rebier.
Rebier.
No, you're able to pronounce things. You just. I've talked to you about this. Like, you've mentioned him on Monday and since, and it's every time it's a different version of it.
Mark, what's his name?
You're able to learn words.
What's his name?
Rebier.
Rebier. It's just my
Rebier.
ignorance.
I'm not even like sure I'm 100% correct on it.
Yeah,
I'm
I've just heard everybody. I've just heard it like from different people's mouths, and it's changed all the way.
But you can hear it from his mouth.
Rebier. I couldn't understand a word he was saying at the show, pal. But he was good. He was enjoyable, and he was by far although he wasn't on the main stage, he was by far the biggest act. If you were talking to anybody, you were asking them who you excited to go see or blah blah. Especially
People were
on
there to
Sunday,
see
they were
him,
going
yeah.
to go see him. And then like they it was limited access. Like they closed off the tent. So like, if you had paid money to go to that festival, camped there all weekend, and wanted to see him,
Right.
yeah, there was just a chance you weren't going to. Like some people would have been, there was crowds of people hanging outside the tent. And it's just like, that's shite. That's even worse than watching him on YouTube. You can only hear him, and badly. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was a bit shit. We were in the tent. We got to see him, but I felt bad for people who like maybe wanted to go see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what else?
Was who else was on?
Oh God.
I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna pull up the festival and see what the lineup was.
I think it was the ones I remember were like Orbit or the Jungle, Orbital, Too Many DJs,
Jessie Ware,
Jessie Ware.
Orbital, Romy, Rishi Houghton, Helena Hoff, Houseplants, Obangyar. I don't know them. Obangyar. See, there's my pronunciation. I've never heard that.
The Scratcher playing, but I saw them on Wednesday.
Too Many DJs, Helena Rice, Rival Consoles, John Francis Flynn, Alva Reddy, Shark School, Trojan Sound System, Nocturnal Animals, Kate Brennan Harding. I don't know many of these people. Many of these people I do not know.
No, I haven't got a clue, bro. I didn't know a single act there really.
Okay. You might have chosen the wrong festival.
Nah, because it's not really.
Well, if you don't know anybody there.
Huh?
If you don't know anybody there.
Yeah, but I'm not. I didn't even look at the lineup to all together now and had an amazing time. And some of the acts were brilliant.
Okay.
I just.
I think you got luckier than by choosing a festival that was more in line with your tastes. Inadvertently.
Maybe inadvertently, bro, but like not really. Like honest to God, like I think they're kind of focused on a certain aspect of stuff. I'm going for. I'm not going for these things. I'm going for very different reasons, and it's just to spend time with friends that I would never be able to have this type of quality time with otherwise. It's like one of those rare things where people make time to get together and hang out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed a lot of the festival itself and stuff for fun, and like I had a great time, and even all the randomers you meet and all that kind of stuff is so funny. But no, like I had a really fun weekend. Like I really enjoyed it. But that's just because it's just cool to hang out with people I really like, and like we kind of, because some of my friends from Athlone there, and then they have kind of met one or two people over the years at festivals or different friends and stuff, but they've all just become this one big kind of festival kind of group. I'm sure it's common. But, they set up a communal tent in the middle. Everybody pitches their tent around it. So we all just hang out in the tent and in the big tent, or we go into different groups during the day to different acts people want to see. Like, I didn't suggest going to any acts because I'm not like, I just didn't even have the thought.
No, I'm that guy as well.
But I went along to like, okay, you want to see that? Yeah, fuck it, I'll go. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I was just going around to things. Emer brought me to one act and he was very like Bon Iver. Can't think of what he was called, and I liked him. That was pretty good. I liked them. But yeah, it was really fun. It was good times.
Cool. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'm just having a look at the lineup of All Together now this year as well. I'm just going, I don't know many of these people.
No, I wouldn't have.
But that is, of course,
I wouldn't have. Unless it's like unless it was a country music festival or something like that, or like a fucking. Maybe potentially like a rock and roll or metal one or something I might know. I say I might know
National,
because
Prodigy, Mary Wallopers, Future Islands, James Vincent McMorrow. These are the top line guys on this.
James Vincent McMorrow is very good, and the Mary Wallopers I've only listened to more or less recently, and I like them.
Well, that's festival talk, huh? That's festival talk.
The weather was great, possibly too hot.
Weather was great. It was too hot. I'm not prone to the heat myself. Well, then, since you've got back, what have you watched? We'll do the endless stream of media thing. Have you been watching anything? Any comfort things to see you through the hangover and exhaustion of a Monday festival?
No, I would have. That would have been nice. No, that would have been sweet. Emer picked out a few TV shows, which means they're probably a little bit more harrowing and real than I would like.
So what were you watching on Monday afternoon, evening?
What did we watch on Monday? Oh God, can't remember exactly what we watched on Monday. But on Tuesday we did watch Benedict Cumberbatch's Eric.
Yeah, I saw the I saw the like blurb on that, and it's like, oh, it's the abducted child. I'm too tired for trauma.
Well, and then the other one was Under the Bridge, which is good, but it's like about the 1997 murder of a girl in her hometown by a bunch of just girls that she was trying to be friends with, and it's just like, it's awful. Under the Bridge is very good. It's based on a true case, true events. Rena Verk is a young girl living in a Canadian community, I believe. And she struggles to find friends and, companionship and stuff, but she ends up falling in or meeting these girls that are kind of like from a place called Seven Oaks, which is like a home for wayward children. And Rena becomes friends with them, but like the girls are just constantly like just mocking her, shitting on her, and kind of like just bullying her and stuff, but Rena kind of is just desperate to be friends. They're the only people who talk to her. So she ends up inviting them back to her house, and they meet her parents, and her parents are like, super nice, and her dad has good intentions, but he's just a little bit like, out of the loop, you could say, definitely just like these kids are real like judgy, narky, cynical, like 14-year-old teenage girls, and they all think they're in like they have their own little group called something like the CMC, which is like the Cribs Mafia Cartel or something like that. Or the crime mafia cartel. It's like they're just 14-year-old girls sitting in a bedroom listening to Biggie, thinking they're hard,
Right.
But they convince Rena to kind of like move into Seven Oaks with them by accusing the father of sex molestation and physical child abuse. And the father gets arrested, and it's really fucking heartbreaking, horrible stuff, because it's allegedly this is real, this has happened. And it's pretty awful. Yeah. True story. And then the girls murder her. They beat the living shit out of her, and then they walk her into water, and one of the girls drowns her because that girl's a fucking psycho cunt bitch.
Fucking hell. Is it okay, horrible story.
Yes.
Production value? Show good?
It's to be honest, it's really, really good show. Like it's shot really well. Like it goes through like I said, it's based on a true story, but it's like it goes obviously through all the events, the facts and stuff of the excuse me, the story itself, Rena and her friendships with these ladies or these monsters, and her family and stuff. But it actually then goes back to like the 70s, where her parents start courting each other and start dating, and how they kind of came about and the different things that they've had to deal with and stuff, So it goes like, and I didn't think I'd find myself caring about that aspect of the story. It seems like a little bit of a stretch for what essentially is like a true crime representation, if you get me. But actually, I really like them. Their parents are like interesting, nice characters. They're probably the nicest characters, most interesting characters in it. Everybody else is awful.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
There's
a journalist.
So that's Under the Bridge.
Yes, there's a journalist, I think, from the area trying to investigate it, and there's a police or a sheriff or there's police force, somebody trying to investigate it. Neither one of them are particularly likable, particularly the journalist. She seems to kind of like get in with the kids and think she's like gonna get to the source of she's gonna expose this true crime murder thing by just smoking weed with these kids and stuff. And it's like, why are you at this house party? They're 14. Why are you dropping ass with these kids? They're 14. It's just like, why you hang out with children? They're 14. If this was any other scenario or things were different, this would be weird. It is weird, and it is incredibly inappropriate. Why are you trying to hide one of the kids that's potentially involved in this in your house? Why are you giving the heads up that the police are onto them? Like, if you're meant to be this investigative journalist. And she compares herself to Capote, and it's just like, get over yourself. You're gross. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I watch that if you're in any way
kind of harrowing. I'm becoming less and less capable of doing cinematic labor.
Fair.
What have I been doing?
What have you been doing, Aidan?
What have I been doing? What news have I? What news me?
You were very, Emer and I are very grateful for you this week. You babysat Bjug for a couple of hours on Monday.
Oh Oh yeah, I was watching Star Trek Prodigy on your television.
Yeah, ruined my algorithm on Netflix. Yeah.
I ruined your algorithm on Netflix. Oh, I started every episode of Star Trek I could see just to like do that.
Did you really? Because it looks like that. You bastard.
Just watch some Star Trek, you fucking
I watched
loser.
some Star Trek back in the day.
Yeah, it's great. Star Trek Prodigy is fun.
Is it new?
It is a kids show, so it's just taking
Live action, animated?
I think it's getting its second or third season. Animated show. The animated shows with Star Trek at the moment are pretty good. I don't know if you watched Lower Decks.
No, I wanted to watch it, but yeah.
You should watch Lower Decks.
Adult or
a fun. Yeah. I mean, it's walking a fine line. It's not quite as hard as like Rick and Morty.
Oh, God.
Ricky Morty is of course the Spanish.
Dad.
Well,
what do you mean?
Your dad's talking a lot about Rick and Morty.
No, but he's literally Rick Sanchez. Is he not Spanish, anyways?
He is, yeah. Rick y Morty. So no, it's not as like adult as Rick and Morty, but it is an adult Star Trek show that takes the piss out of Star Trek a fair amount. And there's a live action crossover with one of the ongoing Star Trek shows, which is really funny. The animated guys get sucked into a portal and then they're in the Star Trek Strange New Worlds show.
That is wild. What's that on?
So Star Trek Lower Decks is on Amazon Prime. You can watch it there. It's good. It's good. That's a fun show. Prodigy is much more kid oriented. CG show about a bunch of like child slaves that escape a mine in a lost Federation ship, and they're trying to figure out how to work the ship, and there's a hologram trainer.
Okay, cool.
It's Captain Janeway. So it's like
no way.
It's after Voyager, obviously, but it's like I only got about 4 or 5 episodes in, but I enjoyed it, and like visually it's pretty cool. It's still a bit kiddie, but that's what you get from a kids show. But like a lot of these kids shows, and you see it in the Star Wars stuff as well, they find their weight and pathos as they go on, but they have to hook in their audiences through very accessible kids things. So you're watching very goofy, like even if you watch Avatar, the first few episodes are pretty fun and goofy, like riding around on fucking penguins. I watched that. I watched the new series of Rick and Morty that landed on Netflix. It's probably been out for a little bit.
I have not watched all of it. I watched some of it.
Okay. Did you notice any difference in Rick and Morty's voices at all?
I know they've been recast, but no, not enough to bother me or anything. It's fine. They did a good job.
They're doing a great job. I think that's fair to say. They are cursing way more than I remember. I'm not.
But I'm sure it's probably one of those things that, like, if you're used to doing impressions of Rick and Morty, so you're probably like you're ad-libbing, so you're doing like effing and this and that and stuff.
I was about to say that. Yeah, I wonder if Justin Roiland's kind of like ad-libs are like like are stuttery or like fiction words.
Yeah,
or like gibberish words, rather than
cursing.
What this guy does, which is like, fucking get fucked, you motherfucker, suck my cock. Like, it's like, these are whoever's scripting these, it's just a lot more like, oh, shove it up your ass and suck my cock with it. And it's like, wait, that's so much more.
That's crude.
Like, yeah.
We're not crude boys.
I'm not,
he's not,
I'm not squeamish about language, you know this. But it's like, you get a tone established that you expect from a show, and I was just like, is he telling everybody to suck his dick? Like, this is going on a lot. This is a bit overwhelming. Just tear his face off like usual. But I had fun with the episodes that were there. They're a little wanderly. There's a little like sense of like some of the stuff, it feels like they're like going back to earlier threads and wrapping things up in a way that it's like, I don't know if the original creative team would have gone this route, because it's revisiting old ground. I felt like they just kept moving forward a lot of the time, even if they were referencing stuff. But this is like wrapping up a lot of storylines at the same time. We revisit Ice-T, who is an ice being in the shape of the letter T, who took human form for a period of time.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. He became Water T. Yeah, had fun with Rick and Morty. And then I watched a bunch of the new Doctor Who.
Oh, okay.
Which is fun.
Who's the Doctor?
Nkudi Gatwa.
Okay, and how are they doing?
Nkudi's great. There's a real like energy and enthusiasm. The guy fucking glows on screen.
Excellent.
He is so charismatic.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
Yeah.
He's a joy to watch. Even the
They were great in Sex
the
Ed.
companion, the cast
Whatever it's
is
called.
great. The cast
Who's
great.
Who's their companion?
I can't remember her name. Because I've only seen her from this. The character's name is Ruby Sunday.
Oh, that's a cool name. That sounds familiar.
And she's been great fun as well. Some of the episodes just feel a little light and detached. And I watched one called Bubble and Dot, which was fun, but it had a sort of like Blink vibe to it. The episode with the weeping angels, where the Doctor is communicating through like videos and messages to a new third party person. It felt kind of like a kiddie Black Mirror episode.
Very well, that's cool.
But it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was good. Just some of them aren't hitting. There's a lot of big energy and emotion around things where it's like, this isn't quite landing the way I feel like they want it to for me. But I don't know, maybe as I look back at it in time, like my favorite series of the recent Doctor Who's is, season 5 with Matt Smith. But like, even then, if you were to make me call out the episodes in that season, there's probably 4 episodes out of 10 or 12 that are great, and the rest are Doctor Who episodes of the week that are wobbly. But that is my Doctor Who rant.
Okay.
Have you ever been a Doctor Who fan?
No.
You ever done any Doctor Who tattoos?
Yes, loads.
Doctor Who tattoo.
Doctor Who tattoo. I'm not a Doctor.
Which brings me. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not a Doctor Who's fan. I did at one stage accidentally catch a TV thing like, what was it called? Like Children of Earth or Children of something. It's a spin-off from Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, that was Torchwood.
Torchwood, yeah, and they had some Christmas special or something, or some special episode, and it was Children of something, I can't remember. But the ending of it,
Children of Earth.
But the ending of it was like a gut punch, and I caught this thing like halfway through. I didn't have a clue what it was, but I stuck with it, and the ending blew me away. So it was like that's like the closest thing I've ever watched to it was Doctor Who.
Okay, well, I mean, hopefully that will let you know that there's a big bank of fun, goofy sci-fi shows for you to watch there at some point, because they're not bad, like, I won't try and sell you on everything being amazing, but like, I think there's a degree of, are you rebelling against a fandom because you like goofy sci-fi shit? You do. Here's a question, and I asked this last week. I wonder if we'll continue this line of questioning, like a weekly catch-up. Is there I want to phrase this as not favorites to avoid absolutism, but like, is there a highlight thing that you tattooed this week?
Last week, what did I do last week? I did a continuation, and I finished a Cerberus Hydra Phoenix piece for my boy Joey. Shout out to Joey. Joey works in Forbidden Planet and always looks after us. Shout out to the folks at Forbidden Planet.
Shout out to Forbidden
Planet. And I did to cover up. A gentleman had the word ACAB tattooed on their neck, and I covered up with a big old spider.
Is this an Irish gentleman?
They were not Irish, no. They live in Ireland.
They were an American
They
gentleman?
were not American, no.
Interesting.
Yep.
I think of ACAB as a specifically American
yes. thing. It would be
Movement?
Yes, I met some before who are Irish and were very pro ACAB, and I was just kind of like, but like in the
What's your beef?
Yeah, it's like, but in the American sense, like kind of like, as in an outcry to the systematic racism and intolerance and injustice of the police force in America. But I'm not sure it applies here. I'm not saying that our Garda force aren't without fault or issues or anything like that at all. But I just don't think it's the same. I don't think we should compare them.
Yeah.
Like we can try and be as, metropolitan and as whatever as other cities and places. But like, if we're not the same, don't compare them. Like, don't compare, like, even though like you might have issues with the likes of Leo Vac or Micheál Martin or Simon Harris or whoever. It's like, don't compare them to Trump though, because they're not the same. You're wishing something upon us, that we're not there yet.
Yeah, I think we're not that bad. It's a different system. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
So okay, then your standout piece was the Phoenix Hydra piece.
Oh yeah, and a big cover up the spider in the guy's neck, the ACAB piece.
Cool.
I posted on my Instagram.
Well, feel free to throw those or link them into the Endless Cast story just for a bit of context. Like Kev's highlights.
Yeah, fair.
Aren't the worst cross promotional. I also watched The Acolyte. I'm realizing I'm looking at the time, so I want to get to like the other things.
Yeah, fine. Acolyte, I heard, is awful. Absolutely awful. I've heard terrible things about it.
Who are you talking to? Not specific names, I guess, but like you've heard that from people other than me.
No. The internet.
The internet. That's what I mean.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, yeah, you've got other sources beyond me just saying this last week.
Yeah, I just heard it's pretty, like it's a real miss. Heard people are pretty down about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of rationalizing going on. There's of course the usual dorks going, "This is bad because women."
Oh, but women are inconvenient.
Can't leave it in, don't say.
No.
Okay.
Inconvenient. They inconvenient me. They hold up my space.
Okay, that's all staying in because it's funny.
That's fine. I know,
good.
jokes.
Jokes. All right. Because it amuses us.
Yes.
No. Well, you.
But people are dorks. The usual dorks. Go on.
So there's the usual dorks going. There's the usual dorks blaming women. There's fans that are just sold into anything that are just like, "This is amazing." So you can, of course, find the people like, "No, this is great." But it's like it's objectively bad. It's objectively just bad TV. It's no worse than other bad TV. I've definitely watched bad sci-fi shows and bad things where I'm just like, well, this is bad, but it's on TV and it's TV. It is what it is.
Okay,
but
so
you kind of want this to be a sort of HBO. But every time Disney pours millions of dollars into a show at this point, I don't want crap procedural by the numbers piss it out television. I want HBO, FX. I want them trying. I want them to deliver to what they can deliver.
You want like True Detective. You want like a one and done. Like, this is a great series. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
So for those of us not privy to the current state of Star Wars, where this one takes place years before, right? So
yes.
So they could do whatever they fucking want with it, but they do shite.
To a degree.
But they do shite. They do fucking nothing.
Yeah.
They'll do fucking nothing.
There's a lot of people picking at little things of continuity. Like, there's a guy that you see in one episode of this that actually is in the Phantom Menace. And it's like, okay, cool. So he's a 150. And people can point at some fucking like some piece of merchandise that puts that guy's age as being something different than what this continuity is, but it's like, don't worry too much about that shit. Like, that's just tiny picking. I think there's a moment whether he or somebody else says that there hasn't been a Sith scene in 1,000 years, and then we're seeing this episode where it's just like, well, there's a Sith. And it's like, well, hold on, so people are wondering if this is an oversight or if it's a cover up. It's kind of cool if Jedis are doing cover ups. That's actually kind of cool. Okay, here's the other thing. This week's episode is getting really good reactions. People really enjoyed this week's episode. And I watched it last night and I went, oh, this is cool. I'm having a lot of fun. This episode is mostly a lightsaber duel with a bad guy. It's like 12 guys lightsaber fighting a bad guy. And I was watching it going, why are people enjoying this episode so much? And why am I enjoying this episode so much?
No talking, just fighting.
It's no talking, just fighting. I think the thing is, it's my guess would be the reason I'm enjoying this is a really good fight choreographer put together a really good fight, and the fight teams put together a really good fight, and we're watching this. But the moments where the characters are interacting or making decisions, or their positions in space are established, are like, these are bad decisions again. Like, so end of episode 4, we see I can't remember how many, 12 Jedi standing in a line, lightsabers drawn, facing off against one guy who's just lit up a red lightsaber. He force pushes all of them and they fly off into the distance in a big pool of dust. I say fly off into the distance, we get a clear sense that they're traveling back 10, 15, 20 feet. You know, they're just moving directly back.
Yes, force push and all that jazz.
Yeah. I want to establish the fact that it's not so far away that people are getting lost here. So one character then wakes up, turns around as the start of episode 5 and sees that this duel is happening and this Sith is tearing through everybody. He's just cutting lumps out of people, which is amazing. And then about 3-4 minutes, 5 minutes in, just when you think our lead character is about to get killed, one of the other Jedi who has been sort of a core character, Master Soul, I think his name is, comes out of nowhere to protect her. This is what I mean when I'm like, what is the narrative or directorial choice happening here? Because the fight's been cool to this point, and last we saw Master Soul, he was standing front and center in the middle of a battle, facing the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
He got force pushed back 10 feet. She woke up and there's a battle going on. Is he the one guy that got force pushed 4 kilometers away and had to jog back? Because he missed the majority of the fight. Where the fuck was he? You know, that's a weird... What was he doing? Just chilling somewhere for a minute? So it's decisions like that. It's weird, like narrative-y, lack of continuity. I just don't know what... Like, people that broad stroke concepts and are like, this is fine, it'll do, you know? Like, people won't think about where he was for the last 5 minutes. It's a cool dramatic moment when he does appear. And it's like, no, this is my response. No.
You're like, no,
right?
I will question it.
That's my take on the Acolyte.
So
the guy playing the Sith is Jason from The Good Place, Manny.
No way.
And he's great, Manny Machado.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
that's nope. That's a baseball player.
Oh.
Hold on.
Yeah. But he's great. He's a lot of fun.
Manny Jacinto, and we have seen him play big, goofy, smiley, whatever, and now we have seen him turn that smile upside down and be intimidating, and he's class.
Oh, interesting. So now
he's cool.
So now that we
More
have some male representation, do you think the show will take a bit of a turn and people will like it?
No, I. There is a point in this episode where the twins, who are the sort of central point of the central protagonists of the show, the bad one strikes a adventurous looking pose. Just strikes a pose with her lightsaber, turns it on, and then brings it back quickly over her head, and it cuts her hair in a way that makes it look like her twin. And it's the silliest thing I've seen in a bit. And she changes clothes and then sneaks away with the Jedi unrecognized.
Fair.
And not fair. Not fair. I sense the presence of my master is Darth Vader up and down. You know what I mean? Like, Jedi can sense one another. Like, this person is standing in front of you. It's a person you don't know, as opposed to the person you've known for years. and you can't tell that isn't. She's also got a fucking tattoo burnt into her fucking forehead, so I don't think you're
convinced.
all right.
Anybody.
That's enough of this.
That's enough of that.
The Acolyte continues to be frustrating.
Did you watch, or are you watching? I don't think you have The Boys.
I haven't watched The Boys yet. I've got to get through it, but I haven't yet. It's always a barrier of like I heard somebody describe Garth Ennis this week in relation to the Boys comic, because they were just like, I hate this book. It's so gross.
Is this the person that said that he's like a pizza cutter, no edge?
Like a pizza cutter, all edge, no
yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. All edge, no point. And every time I go to turn on The Boys, whether or not I think I'm going to enjoy the cinematography and the performances and the characters and whatever the fuck else, I just go, I am entering a world of cruelty and nihilism, and I just can't make myself do it again.
That's fair.
And
it is cruel. The latest
such
episode,
a fucking...
or the episode I watched the other day, it was a hard watch, and I'm not going to lie. You know, there's some rough spots.
It's reveling in despair, and I don't...
Oh, so you saw the same video, I think, then, was it, where there's somebody, the guy was saying about, like, Gareth Dennis is all pizza slice, you know, all edge, no point. And if you want a book about what it's like, superheroes like in the real world, check out Kirk Berserk's Astro City. I have...
Kirk Berserk.
Whatever his name is.
Kurt Berserk.
I have always called him Kirk Berserk in my head.
Kirk Berserk.
Is there something wrong with me?
I don't dislike this about you. I love it. It's adorable. You're a lovely, endearing fellow. But Kirk Berserk is very cute. He's very cute. Tell him to give you a pat on the head there for me, will you?
She's gone. She's not here. I'm looking at their beauty.
Okay.
Kurt Berserk, Astro City, covers by Alex Ross, by the looks of it. Have you ever read that? I've not, but after watching it, I've been quite intrigued.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've always been like, there's always been this sort of like non-big two, slightly fringy books that I've never got into. Like Tom Strong is there as well. Like the art always looks great, but it always feels like an ongoing series that I've not known where to jump into.
Yes, yeah.
And I remember them being released at the time and just going, when that's collected, I'm going to have a look at
Astro City.
Look at that. Like even the Marvel stuff that was like Earth X.
Yeah.
Was it Earth X?
Yeah.
Like there was Alex Ross stuff with like an afterlife thing happening as well. And like I was just like, I don't know where to jump onto this. I don't know what's like going on. This looks
Captain
cool.
America with the American flag wrapped around him or something.
Yeah, that he'd become like the embodiment of, I don't know, death or an angel or something. Yeah. Like there was a weird sort of cosmic spiritual vibe going on with it. Which again looked cool. It's just I didn't know where to fucking dive into it, so I was just like, I'll wait till there's a collected that I can just pick up in one box.
Yeah,
I wish that was very clear. I know I've got to do my own research, but I'd love to be able to go, do you want to read Earth X? Here's the one book.
Well, Reddit can be quite good for that, to be fair.
Yeah,
it can be good for telling you, like, you know, go read these are the best books you got to read, or do you read this one, read that one.
So are you going to pick up Astro City?
It's on the list, bro. Like, it looks interesting enough. I'll have to do a bit more reading about it to a degree, but no, I think it looks interesting. I've never really given it any. I've seen it for years. A lot of those images, a lot of those covers, I've been very familiar with, but I've never given it a second's thought before. And then when the guy was just like, "Oh, it's a little bit more like realistic superheroes than The Boys," I'd be like, "Okay, cool." Because everybody says, and I'm guilty of it myself. The Boys would be like if what heroes would be like in real life. Some heroes, not all heroes. Like you'd have you'd have a company like Vought, but you'd also have like a company like Warner Brothers, Disney, and you know what I mean. Like there'd be multiple Voughts, you know.
Well, Jupiter's Legacy was doing that as well. Do you know what I mean? Here are some superheroes, but that's like what superheroes in real life without them being a corporate creation. So. Like Jupiter's Legacy was like, here is the golden age deified version of superheroes, and they're lovely and they're great and whatever the fuck's going on with them. But then 2 generations later, their kids are just celebutants going to parties and doing coke and having a blast, which is like every cyclical
nepotism
rise and fall of families that we see. There's about 2 or 3 generations of like hard-won work to a sort of aristocratic hype, followed by party boy artists' failures, like the fall off of families. Like things go up and down.
100%. And like Jupiter's Legacy, whatever about the TV show being an absolute bomb, the comic book, great. I read a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I say I read a lot of it. At one stage, I read all of it, but I don't know what's been out or released since, you know? I read the main arc and the prequel arc. And the prequel arc, the artwork was glorious.
You liked the prequel arc a lot. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
The other thing we said we'd watch New Jack City off the back of talking about Blade, because we bounced off of Wesley Snipes into New Jack City.
I didn't get to watch it because I watched a nepotism narcissist try to save his child through the wonders of puppetry. But you watched it.
You're talking about, what's that called? Eric?
Watch Eric. Eric's all right. I liked it, but like it's also kind of like, you know, you're watching 6 episodes in and the police officer who has made 2 arrests already isn't fully finished watching the CCTV footage of the child attempting to walk to school. Do you know what I mean? Like there's been 2 arrests and he's still like kind of, you know, it's like a 5-minute walk from his house to his school where this child goes missing. Benedict Cumberbatch is the child's father who invented a TV show called Good Day Sunshine, which is like Sesame Street, the Muppets type of thing. And then he's convinced the only way he can get his child back is by creating the puppet the child was trying to create and put it on TV. But Benedict Cumberbatch is definitely like a narcissistic sociopath asshole in this. Like he's not a nice guy. They're broken people that neglected their child and the child got fed up. But you watched New Jack City. Tell me all about it.
Okay. New Jack City is a 1991 movie directed by Mario Van Peebles, which I didn't quite realize, actually. Okay. So Mario Van Peebles is the son of Melvin Van Peebles, who was a filmmaker as well. So there's a bit of like a Hollywood lineage thing happening there. I've never quite connected with Mario Van Peebles' work. He is around for a long ass time. I think there was some action movies in the 90s where it was like, there's this guy and this is a name, but it was just like, I'm not quite connecting with him. New Jack City is about a crime lord's rise to power in New York City in the early 90s. It is full of that like 80s, early 90s like street culture, hip hop thing, you know, the fucking like Gold Chains and Flavor Flav and Run DMC and like as many fucking
MC Hammer
hip hop sort of cameo type folks as you can fucking think of show up in. I say that, I mean, but there's like, it is a you know, it's kind of like a hip hop classic kind of movie. Mm-hmm. It is very visually stylish. There's stuff in there that's like this director and cinematographer are doing work to make this stuff look cool, and it does look cool in a very, very, very 90s way. It's like if you took an Adam West Batman show, and I don't know, like it's like in the way that Tim Burton took Adam West and filtered it through gothic silliness. Yeah. This is like taking Batman and filtering it through 90s hip hopness. Okay. There's a lot of like fisheye lenses, Dutch angles. It's also really shorthandy. Like I think if I had watched this as a kid, it might do what it has done for many people, which is become this sort of like nostalgia point of people's filmographies or cinematic fucking upbringings. Because for me, I was watching it going, this is tough work because each scene is almost like a sketch rather than a rounded character that brings me through in a way that like I care, you know. But it's also some of the things you run into with films, like feature films, where they have to like shorthand exposition really aggressively fast. You know, the type of scene where a character walks in and go, hey, I'm just the youngest ADA at 25 years of old that got through college with this, that, and like a character who walks in giving you their fucking CV just so that you get all this stuff out of the way quickly. But you know, sometimes I like to go home with my wife and kids and have it it's just throwing
exposition out there, whatever you want to call it.
Throwing exposition out there.
So on the nose, to drive the plot forward.
Really on the nose to drive the plot forward. Wesley Snipes and his crew of the Cash Money Boys become a cocaine dealing mega family basing their sort of infrastructure on the sort of mafia end of things. It's a rise to power, and Ice-T and Judd Nelson are the cops that are like the Judd Nelson. Yeah, they're like, there's a moment where they literally go, he's a wild man, he's a man on the edge, he doesn't play by the rules. It's like, it's so like, when I see these scenes in Rick and Morty, I laugh at them.
But now you know where they're coming from.
Because they're parodies and shorthands of things like this. But when I see this here, I'm like, oh wow, they didn't really have to change the tone or the depth of content at all. Dan Harmon used to reference a lot, you know, like, it ain't personal, it's business, you know. And Ice-T says that, or Wesley Snipes and Ice-T sort of say that back and forth at each other in various ways a number of times. And then towards the end, he goes, this isn't business, it's personal. It's like, oh, it's so cheesy. It's so cheesy. I think this could be Chris Rock's first film, or at least is a very early film for Chris Rock. And it's kind of fun seeing him, this Pookie character of the crack addict that they like. There's like a Rocky montage where Ice-T and Judd Nelson get him clean, and there's shots of him going to like rehab and going to like support meetings to get off the crack, and I genuinely think there's one moment where somebody, like, he's back on a crack pipe and he goes, is that you talking, or are you just sucking on this glass dick? And it's like, oh, it's so hard. I think I have to honestly say that I did not enjoy this movie. I see why people did. I've watched it as an exercise in film history. I will never watch this again, except maybe to like look at parodies or the cinematography of like the way it's put together. There's definitely some cool stuff in it. Like, it opens with a like undercover Ice-T chasing Chris Rock, who snatched some money off, and he's like running through like early 90s Harlem streets, and it's cool. The cinematography is a vibe of the day, but like by the time it's just shorthanding its way through beats, like narrative beats, I'm just like, I checked out really pretty hard on this film. I mentioned earlier that this episode, like, ultimately, and like this is spoilers, ultimately an older resident of one of the apartment buildings, played by a fella called Bill Cobb. You would recognize him as, you know, Demolition Man? Mm-hmm. When Wesley Snipes wakes up in the future and there's the old cop there who met him when he was a young rookie.
Wesley Snipes or Sylvester Stallone? Sorry,
Stallone. Stallone wakes up and he sees a guy, and the guy's like, haven't seen you in a long time. And it's like the last time Stallone had seen him, he was a rookie. But now he's like 60 years old.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, Google Bill Cobb is basically, you've got your phone in front of you and you're looking at it, so you may as well.
I'm trying to. It just wouldn't work for me. It's not loading.
Yeah. Faster. Okay. An older gentleman living in one of the apartments that's been overrun, like the building has been overrun by Wesley Snipes' drug dealing gang. Ultimately, like, he's, you know, trying to drive the guy out and
Bill Cobbs, at him. Yeah, Bill Cobbs was in a TV show I watched when I was younger that I loved called The Others. If you don't know it, check it out.
Okay. Ultimately, he like is the man on the street that's pushed too far by it and assassinates Wesley Snipes' character as he's leaving a courthouse. He passed away on the 25th of June, which is the day before yesterday as we're recording. So
Bill Cobbs just died yesterday.
Just died. I thought it was the 25th.
25th, sorry.
But yeah, and that's like, I was watching this even going, God, that guy's been around forever, and it's just a complete coincidence then that we were set to watch this or talk about it, and he just passed away. So this episode gets a little more, I don't know, relevant, I guess.
Shout out to Bill Cobbs, man. You made some TV shows I watched a lot of fun, and you always made me feel. Shout out to Bill.
Yeah, he's a very charismatic presence in things. Shout out. Oh, I'm trying to remember. There was some other point about watching New Jack City.
New Jack City.
Oh, like there's stuff in it where there's like a police raid, and like Ice-T and Judd Nelson are like raiding the building, and it's like it's budgetary stuff. Like the equipment they're running around with, they're all running around with Uzis and like their bulletproof vests. Every aspect of their police gear just looks wrong. It doesn't look dated. It just looks like it's whatever the crew could get, and it's just so silly. It's just so silly to see.
And what
if that makes any sense.
What city is it meant to be based in? Like
New York.
New York, okay.
Yeah.
What's this?
I was reading a little bit about it. Apparently, the treatment of this film, like the initial pitch that was floating around about a Harlem-based drug dealer kingpin rising to power, was kind of based on a guy called Nicky Barnes, who was an active crime boss in the 70s, but it was apparently an early pitch for Godfather 3.
Oh, wow. Okay, interesting.
Which is funny that like by the time it actually became a movie, it's this, and it is a much loved classic or a cult classic, but oh boy, it's hard watching. It's hard watching, yeah. I was just like, okay, I appreciate this. I appreciate its place in history. I appreciated cementing Ice-T as a police character on Law and Order forever. But it's tough going.
Yeah, fair.
Yep. That's my...
It's your new Jack City, new take.
Yeah. Yeah. Check it out.
Check it out if you want to be...
It's genuinely worth watching.
To be honest,
genuinely worth watching.
I had it on there in the background as you were talking, just because I wanted to see, just aesthetically and things like that. Like, because I didn't hate the stuff you were kind of referring to, the different shots, the Dutch angles and the fisheye and all that kind of stuff. I don't hate that stuff, and I was just like, oh, that kind of makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. I'll put it on. I didn't hate what I seen, but it sounds a slight bit, would you say, convoluted or something? Not convoluted.
It's just that it's like at a certain point it feels like I'm watching and I think it's 2 hours. So I at a certain point I felt like I was watching just a really long music video. Like it's not even that there's that much video in it, but it's just that like the aesthetics, the pushed visuals, that the way that music videos tend to just be these sort of experimental playgrounds for directors to just push visuals, and I was just like, this feels like a Guns N' Roses video from the 80s. Like lots of like long trench coats and...
I mean, oh my God. Like,
he's a man on the edge. So look, that's my... I guess that's my review of New Jack City. I think it sounds like it's pretty negative, and I don't mean it to. I try to be more balanced and positive. So just to sort of balance that out a little bit, I'm just going to pull up the Rotten Tomatoes on New Jack City and just see what like the world thinks about it. And maybe I'm just... Yeah, I mean, like, it's a solid 80% for both audience and reviewers. So maybe I'm just fucking wrong.
Well, you're allowed to have your opinion, I'd say.
Sure, yeah. I wonder if I can sort by... Somebody's review is, we all know that New Jack City is making the right statement on drugs, racism, and the system, etc. But the fact is, it's not very good.
Oh.
Roger Ebert. The movie was advertised as a slam-bang action adventure, but in fact, it's a serious, smart film with an impact that lingers after the lights go up. Oh, I don't know. I think you're pandering, Roger. One gets the feeling that a lot of the meaning of this film ended up on the cutting room floor. That's somebody else giving it a negative. I mean, one review, Van Peebles wanted to tell this story. His heart is in it, and it's got a killer beat. Yeah, those aren't... This is a good movie, though.
Yeah. You're being told to like it. That's essentially what's going on there.
Yeah.
Another news though. We'd be remiss to not acknowledge it. Donald Sunderland.
What did you say?
Donald Sunderland has passed away at the ripe age of 90. Was it?
Yeah, I think he was close. Yeah. So Donald Sutherland. Let's see what age he was. 88.
88. Oh wow, the year I was born.
88. Donald Sutherland has died. I don't know what to say about that.
He's great.
I love Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland too.
My first exposures to Donald Sutherland were Kelly's Heroes.
I was going to say Kelly's Heroes,
where he played Oddball, the tank driver. Yeah. That was just a pure Saturday, Sunday afternoon on RTE2.
For me, and I remember watching it on a Sunday morning.
It was just like on regularly.
Kelly's Heroes.
I'd like to think it still is.
The Tiger Tanks.
Such a fun movie. Watching it into the evening,
it's good fun.
Like a hell of a cast. Silly movie.
Yeah, I want to say Eastwood is in that. Is he?
Eastwood, Don Rickles, Telly Savalas, Donald Sutherland. Like it's a big.
Yeah,
it's a big of the era cast.
Yeah.
They find kind of like Three Kings. They get a treasure map. They know there's gold in a bank, and they have to get to the bank before the rest of the allies do because they want to unload the bank. And they inadvertently end up like creating a push for the entire allied forces, and they're just like, hold on, how is this one tank brigade leading the whole army through?
Yeah.
And suddenly they realize that they're actually, rather than like very under the radar making their way to this treasure, they're inadvertently like suddenly leading the charge of the whole allied forces.
Yeah.
And it's a race to get to the bank.
Yeah. And then I think they kind of accidentally find like treasure, isn't it, or something like I think they miss out on the bank or something, but they end up finding like paintings or something that's like worth loads.
No, they get the bank.
Okay.
They get the bank. Can we watch that again? Is that next week's movie? You don't sound sold.
Say again? I don't know if I'm
You don't sound sold.
Do I want to watch Kelly's Heroes? I watched Kelly's Heroes, yeah, sure, look.
When's the last time you saw Kelly's Heroes?
What, about 20 years ago, I'd say?
Let's watch it. It's class. We can come back in a week and go, actually, that's not as class as I remembered. But
I'm
look,
sure Kelly's Heroes is fun, to be honest.
It's good fun, yeah. Let's watch it. Donald Sutherland in The Dirty Dozen, MASH, Don't Look Now.
I see. I'd like to watch this.
He was just always.
I'd like
great.
to watch I'm open to watch a Donald Sutherland movie.
A Sutherland.
Yeah.
You'll get the name eventually.
I know Sutherland. I know his name.
So, what you think? There's something else you want to watch in the Sutherland oeuvre?
Maybe.
Oeuvre. I mean, people love Don't Look Now, but it's a very stylish, depressing movie about a dead child. So I'm not on for it. I didn't like it that much because I don't like to be harrowed.
You don't like to be harrowed.
Have you seen Clute?
Clute? I have not seen Clute. Who let this juice loose within this Clute?
Can I recommend Clute?
Well, spell that for me.
Klute. That is a classic Alan Pakula movie from the 1970s, I believe, with Jane Fonda. He is a small town detective, and it is a classic.
Okay, use it in the sentence, please.
That I have not seen, and I actually for a film class, I read the script. So, like, I have read the screenplay for this, but I've never actually sat down and then watched it.
Okay, then Clute. I'm down for Clute.
So I have this visual of this movie in my head, but it's purely through having read the screenplay.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm after checking out Jane Fonda, Donald Sutherland, Roy Scheider.
Scheider.
Roy Scheider. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Paris.
Okay. So just to recap, cartoons good, festival bad, New Jack City not great, Donald Sutherland R.I.P., Bill Cobb R.I.P., and the boys, Garth Ennis, just a bit nihilistic, a bit
all edge, no point.
a bit like the Endless Stream.